Publications and thought leadership. What really counts for merit-based immigration in 2026? Welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping right in because today we're dismantling one of the most persistent and honestly most damaging myths in the immigration world. We're looking specifically at the 2026 standards for merit-based immigration profiles and breaking down exactly how adjudicators are actually viewing your publications and thought leadership. Look, if you're targeting an EB1A, an EB2 NIW, the UK Global Talent, or Australia's National Innovation Visa, your professional profile is your golden ticket. But how you build that profile, well, the game has completely changed. Okay, let's dive into this. Just publish more. Get your name out there. Increase your visibility. We've all heard this from well-meaning colleagues, right? People have been treating publishing like it's a sheer numbers game, assuming that piling up a massive mountain of articles is somehow going to magically fast-track a visa approval. But here is the hard reality. Volume is absolutely not authority. In fact, mass-producing superficial content is literally one of the quickest ways to dilute your professional brand in the eyes of an evaluating officer. Because here's the thing, as we look at the 2026 adjudication standards, the evaluation process is incredibly sophisticated. Officers and endorsement bodies, they're no longer just trying to see if you checked a box. They've totally moved away from that basic simplistic question of, hey, have you published? Instead, the real question they're asking, the absolute lens through which your entire application is viewed, is this. Does your publication demonstrate recognized expertise and measurable professional influence? It's all about authenticity. It's about defensibility. To make sure we really grasp how this works, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll tackle the publishing shortcut myth. Second, we'll break down the 3 pillars of authority. Third, marketing versus true thought leadership. Fourth, building your evidence architecture. And finally, number 5, strategic profile development. All right, let's get into section 1, the publishing shortcut myth. It's wild, but this is exactly where so many incredibly qualified professionals end up accidentally sabotaging their own cases. In today's landscape, trying to shortcut your way to a strong profile, it just doesn't work. Artificial profile inflation, like blast publishing a bunch of superficial articles, is so easily detected by immigration authorities now. Officers reviewing EB1A or EB2 NIW applications, they aren't wowed by mere surface-level visibility anymore. They are specifically trained to sniff out credibility, relevance, and impact. Publishing isn't a checklist activity. It's a critical signal of your actual, genuine credibility. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast you see here between manufactured visibility and genuine authority. On the left, we've got the heavy hitters, the strong examples, peer-reviewed research, technical white papers adopted by actual organizations, and recognized conference proceedings. But look over on the right. These are the weak examples. Content manufactured purely for the illusion of visibility. We're talking pay-to-publish international journals with zero peer review, self-published ebooks that collect digital dust, or generic LinkedIn posts masquerading as scholarly work. Sure, these might bump up your search engine results, but they establish absolutely zero independent recognition. Moving right along to section 2, the 3 pillars of authority. So if the weak stuff doesn't cut it, what actually defines a strong publication? Well, we can distill successful thought leadership down to a super simple rule of 3. A truly authoritative publication has to have these 3 characteristics: relevance to your core expertise, credibility of the platform you're using, and measurable impact and engagement. Let's break these down one by one. First up is relevance. Basically, stay in your professional lane. Your publication has to align directly with your specific area of expertise. For example, if you are a leading expert in renewable energy grids and you suddenly publish some mass-produced opinion piece on cryptocurrency trends just because it's a hot topic, that actually hurts you. It creates this disjointed narrative and weakens your strategic positioning. You've got to demonstrate sustained professional authority in your specific niche. Second is credibility. The platform where your work lives matters. Actually, scratch that. It matters immensely. Speed should never, ever be prioritized over the quality of the outlet. Established academic conferences, peer-reviewed journals, recognized industry publications, those carry the real weight. Self-published blogs, generic guest posts on low-tier websites, or worst of all, pay-to-publish portals, they offer no credibility. You have to remember, immigration authorities want to see that the gatekeepers in your industry actually vetted and approved what you wrote. And third, impact. This is the so what of your publication. It's where your work proves it actually influenced your field. It is definitely not enough that an article simply exists on the internet. What happened after it went live? Did it spark professional discussion? Was it cited by other researchers? Did an organization take your technical white paper and adopt it as a standard? Were your findings referenced in a government policy? Immigration-grade publications always demonstrate measurable engagement. Okay, let's shift to Section 3, Marketing versus Thought Leadership. So the crucial point here is a massive point of confusion for so many applicants. Promoting your business does not establish industry authority in the eyes of an immigration officer. Content marketing aims to generate visibility, right? It's trying to capture business leads. It's promotional. True thought leadership, on the other hand, reflects deep subject matter knowledge. It addresses massive sector-level challenges, provides original analysis, and genuinely adds to the professional discourse. A marketing article telling people to go buy your services, that absolutely does not qualify as immigration-grade authorship. Let's put this into perspective across the top global immigration pathways. For the U.S. EB1A, authorship is a direct evidentiary criterion, and officers ruthlessly prioritize quality. One high-impact peer-reviewed paper can easily outweigh 10 low-quality blog posts. For the EB2 NIW, publications prove your endeavor has substantial merit and that you're well-positioned to advance it. Looking at the UK Global Talent Visa, thought leadership is vital to support your claims of leadership or even potential leadership in your sector. And for Australia's National Innovation Visa, high-impact publications significantly strengthen your whole case for global achievement. The takeaway? Across the board, quality consistently outweighs quantity. Which brings us to Section 4, Building Your Evidence Architecture. Now we have to zoom out a bit and look beyond just the individual article to the broader strategic picture. As adjudication standards have evolved, officers don't just look at isolated pieces of paper floating in a vacuum. They're assessing how your evidence is structured overall. A single publication alone doesn't establish authority. It has to be woven into a broader architecture that connects directly to recognition signals, measurable impact, and national priorities. It's really about building this cohesive, undeniable narrative of your expertise. And this brilliantly illustrates what we call the multiplier effect. Having one good publication, sure, shows expertise, sure, but independent recognition, that acts as a massive multiplier. When your work results in citations in other academic journals, or it leads to invitations to speak at major conferences, or prompts requests for you to review other professionals' manuscripts, that completely changes the game. When media references your publication, or organizations adopt your findings, it proves others in your field recognize your authority. Immigration systems prioritize this kind of independent validation over self-promotion every single time. No contest. Finally, Section 5, Strategic Profile Development. Knowing the theory is great and all, but how do you actually apply this framework? Well, here is your blueprint for developing a thought leadership strategy that serves both your long-term career and your immigration readiness. Step 1, identify publication channels that are rigorously relevant to your domain and carry genuine credibility. Again, no shortcuts. Step 2, align the topics you write about with national-level challenges. You want your original contributions solving real pressing problems in your sector. And Step 3, don't just publish and forget about it. Track your measurable impact. Gather the citations, the industry adoption metrics, the media mentions, and carefully structure that documentation for your immigration-grade submission. So, to wrap up the core takeaway of today's explainer, the days of inflating a profile with superficial fluff are entirely over. The trend for 2026 and beyond is crystal clear. Systems reward genuine expertise and defensible impact. Artificial mass publishing is just noise. In merit-based immigration, authority cannot be manufactured through clever marketing tricks. It absolutely must be demonstrated through relevant, credible, and impactful work. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today as we wrap up. Take a really hard, critical look at your own resume and your current body of work. Ask yourself, is my current profile built on superficial noise, or am I actively demonstrating genuine, defensible authority? If you aren't completely sure, before you go and write another generic blog post, consider seeking a structured profile assessment. Make sure your thought leadership is actually building real recognition, not just temporary visibility. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building that undeniable profile.